Dana Perino is host of the Daily Briefing, co-host of The Five. We're looking live in Philadelphia on the left side of the screen. Dana, your thoughts on this history moment?
Well, I did want to make a moment, take a moment just to say, obviously for Kamala Harris, this is a significant historic moment for America, for women in America, and for Black Americans and Indian Americans. It's a big deal, and I think we should acknowledge that. So for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, last night I thought that speech might be a little premature. Obviously, the Trump team still thinks it is premature, but I don't think we could let this day go by without acknowledging what a historic moment that is. And there's going to be a lot of firsts, so many firsts, and you're going to read about them for a long time. To your point about the mail-in ballot, mail-in voting, I really also remember that, too, and Martha mentions it, at the end of the Democratic National Convention, where we were in August, sitting there in D.C., at the very end, there was a constant call to you can vote, you can vote. During the campaign, I looked at the enthusiasm of the Trump rallies, and I thought, gosh, wouldn't you rather be the person that someone wants to vote for than someone that you want to vote against? And yet, I think about how Jen O'Malley Dillon, the campaign manager for Joe Biden, she had it right. She had a good strategy. She focused on it. She did not get swayed. Remember, Beto O'Rourke, who she used to work for, tried to get her to dump a bunch of money into Texas. She held firm. She's like, that is not where we want to go. The Trump team said that they had an advantage in newly registered voters, and that they had a better ground game, that they were actually knocking on doors during coronavirus, even though the Biden campaign would not do that. And yet you look at what Bill was showing you in terms of the raw vote total, especially around Atlanta and in Savannah, you had people actually truly getting out the vote and doing it in the way that would not kick their ballots out, right? Because there are those possibilities with mail-in voting that you might have a signature not match or something could go wrong. You use the wrong envelope. It's not as clean cut. I would also point people to Jeb Bush, who today writes an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal explaining what the debacle that was Florida of 2000 voting and the steps that he as governor took with the state legislature working in cooperative fashion to improve that state's voting. It includes a lot of mail-in voting. So if you're looking at some of these states and wondering, all right, if this is the future, if voters want the convenience of mail-in voting, if this is what we're going to do, there is a model out there that other states could follow.
Dana, I just keep thinking, as you're talking about Kamala Harris, I'm thinking about Hillary Clinton, who also ran against Donald Trump in 2016, of course. And in that campaign and in the exit polls that we saw, we learned that in many ways, voters didn't love either one of those two candidates. And so I wonder what goes through her mind today. She has spent basically the last 3 years blaming other places for why she lost. But here comes Joe Biden, someone who, by many people's estimate in these polls, they like him. They trust him. He's definitely the quieter, calmer candidate, and I think that can't be underestimated today. You go from having a president who has been basically in everyone's eye level 24/7 for 3.5 years, more than that, to Joe Biden, who basically wasn't in our face every day. It's very interesting to me to look at the difference between running Hillary Clinton and running Joe Biden and why he was able to succeed against this political phenomenon of Donald Trump.
It's such a great point. This morning, as I was walking out there in this beautiful weather, I said to my husband, it feels like today is the end of the Clinton era for good. You did not see Bill Clinton out campaigning for Joe Biden. Hillary, of course, we're in coronavirus, so it was a little bit different. Maybe he would have been asked, but I don't think so. Hillary Clinton did some fundraisers, but pretty much every week on The Five, we could take something Hillary Clinton said and make a segment out of it because it seems so ham-handed. And you just have to look at, for example, Wisconsin. Hillary Clinton took a lot of the traditional Democratic voters for granted, and she lost them. Joe Biden was determined to get them back. He was able to do that, I think, on the union vote especially, but also with African Americans. The voters that they did not do that well with were Latinos and Hispanics. And you saw some coverage of that throughout the last couple of months of the campaign with county chair people raising their hand and saying, hello, Biden campaign, is anybody there? Could anybody come and pay attention to us? And Donald Trump was able to increase his vote totals with Hispanics and blacks, including black women. Now, look, you go from 4% to 8%. That might just say that's just 8%, but look, that's a significant increase. And so Donald Trump has a situation now where he can look back and say that he changed the Republican Party and that he improved upon it and helped it grow.